Before Michael Crichton's book was even published, Universal hired him to write the screenplay for the film adaptation of Jurassic Park for $500,000. During the author's time developing the hit novel, Spielberg had become incredibly interested in translating Crichton's story to the big screen. So much so that he eventually acquired the rights to make 6 Jurassic Park films with the help of financial backing from Universal. The first of these movies had numerous writers come in and help polish the script until David Koepp eventually produced the final product. This movie would get released into theaters in June of 1993, become the highest grossing film ever made, and stay in theaters for what seemed like an eternity. Eventually coming to VHS and Laserdisc in October of 1994, the first Jurassic Park would make waves in the industry for decades to come, the effects of which we're still feeling to this very day. Now, I don't think I have to sit here and tell you how influential Jurassic Park was to movies, because it's pretty much common knowledge now. I also don't think I really have to sell you on the fact that it's a good movie, because that's everywhere too. I think it may be more interesting to talk about why Jurassic Park became the gigantic hit that it did, and the major reasons for that happening have a lot to do with how general audiences experience movies. When you make a groundbreaking special effects film about a subject like dinosaurs, which was previously parodied and lampooned in a lot of other movies because the dinosaur movies of old didn't exactly win too many Oscars, you can mess that up really quick. I think what made it as memorable as it is to this day happens to be the really high level of filmmaking that Spielberg put on display for everyone to see. Characters feel real and grounded in the movie, and there's a sense of believability to their reactions to these animals, and everything that they say comes off as realistic. But to be fair, even if the movie had all of these great performances from Goldblum and Attenborough and Bob Peck still intact, if the movie was unable to sell the realism of the dinosaurs, I don't think it would have worked. Jurassic Park, I think, was the perfect blend of every important aspect of movie making imaginable. Every shot feels cinematic, every location looks genuinely real, every actor does their best, the plot is compelling and the characters engaging, and the intelligence of the themes of the source material are translated excellently to the big screen and actually presented in a way that asks the audience to stop and think rather than hit you over the head with expository dialogue that tells you exactly what's going on and what to look out for. Little moments like the scene where Grant attempts to fasten his seatbelt while the helicopter is dropping in couldn't be done better in the film. The camera's short lingering on Grant while he tries to connect the 2 female seatbelt ends, which of course seems implausible, until he finds a way to successfully make it work, are good examples of foreshadowing that could easily have been dropped from the film because the filmmakers just didn't think highly of the audience's intelligence to relate that back to the chromosome control and the life finds a way quote. But luckily, they did actually consider that we all have brains. And this is the major reason as to why I'll always call the Jurassic Park franchise the thinking man's blockbuster. Because with nearly every sequel that's been made, they've really respected that level of connection between the general plot and the audience's ability to connect the dots to deeper themes and meanings than what's there on a surface level. You get into that a lot with the second and fourth movies particularly, but it all started here. Oddly enough, for a movie that's as layered and thought-provoking about genetically engineered dinosaurs running about because of the folly of man and his insistence to not pay attention to the mathematical warnings that pop up everywhere, the film is actually incredibly simple. The movie is really not about dinosaurs at all. It moves the plot forward and helps us deconstruct all of the heavy themes that are presented during its runtime, but the actual story of Jurassic Park and what it's all about is just a man learning to care for a life lesser than his own. Grant's character arc is the one thing that the movie really focuses on, and it's honestly just a story about a grumpy guy that learns to love kids. This made the movie super easy to digest and understand for children, such as myself in the 1990s, and that really helped make Jurassic Park the juggernaut that it eventually became. Even the way in which they tell the audience how they got the dino DNA was done in a cartoon segment that they'd show to the future Jurassic tourists, which I completely grasped quite easily. It's done in a way that even a super stupid adult that doesn't pay attention to movies and asks dumb questions would be able to go, oh yeah, I get it. But they do that in a way that's really clever, which I gotta say, just makes the movie that much more impressive. And of course, there was all of the pioneering of sound design and digital effects from ILM, as well as the incredibly realistic practical effects work from Stan Winston's team that really gave the movie its 1-2 punch of get your ass a copy of Jurassic Park and watch it again and again. And as a kid, I can tell you that from the perspective of a really young child, seeing this movie early on, it seriously had a massive impact. When you're infatuated with dinosaurs and look up at the screen in your living room and see a giant Brachiosaurus walking around trees, and this kind-hearted grandpa figure tells you to come out and look at this beautiful amusement park that you can visit, and the dinosaur looks real, like it actually looks like it exists in the real world and is something that you can see and touch. For a kid, especially around the time when there was nothing else like this out there, it really has an effect on you. And just after that, being a little kid and hearing John Hammond say that, oh, we have a T-Rex, which instantly teases the audience into, oh my god, we're gonna see a T-Rex look this awesome too. It's just simply incredible filmmaking that worked really, really well on a number of different levels. And it did become what Star Wars was for Generation X. You know, Jurassic Park really is and should be respected as the next one. But that doesn't mean that everything is amazing with the movie. Now, getting into problems with Jurassic Park, I do want to say that at some points in the film, there are a lot of glaring continuity errors that need to be discussed in order to tell the honest-to-God truth, and I think we need to brush over them now. So early on in the movie, Muldoon's hat can be seen disappearing and reappearing on his head during the raptor attack opening, and it can be really obvious if you know what you're looking for. Again, later on, the mechanical hand that turns the eggs just disappears during Hammond's imprinting sequence. After that, during the Rex attack, the door that Timmy goes to close is actually shown completely shut in the shot directly before he clearly closes it. You can see the strings attached to the Dilophosaurus frill when it expands during Nedry's death scene, and you can even see someone's hand come into view to stabilize the raptor that walks through the door in the kitchen scene. Now look, every movie has its small mistakes and faults, but I don't want this review to seem dishonest or unfair to someone who takes all of that stuff really seriously, so I felt obligated to talk about it because they exist. I try to keep everything here as objective as humanly possible because it's the only real way to actually critique something in all honesty. That being said, Jurassic Park, in my opinion, shouldn't be penalized for any of these small things because it doesn't really take away from my overall experience, even after I know that all of those things are there. No, in my mind, Jurassic Park is quite simply a phenomenal movie. It's my favorite film of all time, and definitely one that I'd recommend everyone seeing. I'd have to give Jurassic Park a solid A+, because that's what it deserves. I honestly think this movie doesn't really need to be reviewed any more than it already has, but because of Fallen Kingdom's imminent release, I felt obligated to talk about it, and the books, and of course the sequels, in anticipation for the new film. Now, next time I'm going to be tackling The Lost World book by Michael Crichton, and man, do I have a lot to say about that one. Now, before I go, I want to thank my game wardens, as well as all of my engine executives. I'd also like to thank my park workers and engine hunters as well. It means the world to me that you guys continue to enjoy what I do so much, and I seriously am eternally grateful for every ounce of support that you've shown me. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching this video, and hope that you all enjoy today's content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you on the next video, guys. And as always, take it easy.